What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Sister Radio Show. I am your favorite sister, Narkelia, and I hope you all are having a wonderful Tuesday and a great week since the last time I spoke with you guys. This month is August, and in August I'm going to do something I've tried to avoid for a minute, but it is so necessary in this climate to do. So this month, every show is a vent session on various topics. Today, I'm going to just go ahead and jump right on in with race relations and politics. Like I said, I've been trying to steer clear of it because it brings about such negative energy, and I feel like I just have to cleanse after I talk about it, cleanse my mind and cleanse my body, spirit of it, because it lingers. I'm not oblivious to things that go on. I see things every day. I have a million thoughts about it and a million questions to myself on what I can do about it. But I've been trying to avoid, jumping in and going in on it on the show, just because I want the show to always be a positive atmosphere. With all the negative stuff going on, I want to put some positivity out there, some empowerment out there, some education out there, some unity out there. But this month, we're going to let it all out. All of us, let's just let it all out. Let all those thoughts out, get it out. Because sometimes you have to let that stuff out in the atmosphere too. You have to have those conversations as well. It's very important. So I'm going to just jump right on in and start with it being Black Women's Equal Pay Day. If you guys don't know, which I recently learned about it as well, but Black women are paid 38% less than white men who do the same exact jobs. And we're paid 21% less than white women who do the same jobs. Although it's Black Women's Equal Pay Day and it sounds like a celebration, it is not. This day is about bringing awareness to the issue. A lot of companies and hiring managers aren't even aware that this type of pay gap is happening at their corporations, or at least they say they do not. So it's something that we are fighting to fix on top of everything else that's going on in the world. But we are grossly underpaid for rendering our services to these companies who we help to make millions and billions. So we definitely need to get that awareness out. There's a Instagram account, Lean In, who has a hashtag going on, hashtag 38% counts, helping to raise awareness about it, and about the negative effects that this pay gap has on Black women, because 80% of Black mothers are the main breadwinners in their household. It's a sad fact, and to be paid 38% less than white men and 21% less than white women, it just isn't going to cut it. It's just straight facts. And so we need to get this awareness out. We need to demand that the corporations be more transparent about starting salaries for different positions. Of course, raises and things is something that, depending on where you work, it can be very subjective. I know a lot of companies where, you feel like so-and-so got a raise or got a promotion and you're looking like, what? Like, I work way harder than that person. I'm on way more projects than that person. I do this, that, and the third more. But, gotta be more transparent in getting policies and procedures changed at these corporations to have in black and white what it takes to get said promotions or said raises, and not this subjective thing where, sometimes it's literally, I like this person, or this person is an ass kisser, or whatever it is that is completely unfair and completely unrelated to the job you're doing and how well and effectively you're doing that job. A lot of times we are rock stars on jobs, but we go unrecognized or underappreciated, or whatever biases people are carrying with them to work that causes them to try to keep us from advancing. All of that goes into that. And so we're definitely raising awareness on Black Women's Equal Pay Day, because this 38% gap is nonsense. We cannot live off of that, even though we do what it do to make it work. But that's nothing to be making people live off of and calling it fair. It's just not fair. Y'all, I'm not gonna call this man, whose name shall not be named on this show ever, but under his current administration, it's just been so much bullshit. The racial tensions in this country have escalated to a height that feels like we're trying to go back to like a Jim Crow era way of life that, first of all, this new generation of Black folks, we aren't here for. We're not letting it happen. Y'all can cancel all that shit. It's not going down. Racist white people and whoever else that is racist against Black people. It's not going down. But the latest and most vicious attack on a Black person came at two innocent Black girls standing, waiting on a train to get home from a family function in Oakland, California, when this maniac, this racist, comes and stabs both of them viciously in what the police is comparing to a prison yard assault. Nia Wilson and her sister just viciously stabbed out of nowhere. Like, imagine, I stay in Atlanta. Imagine waiting on MARTA. You chilling, waiting on MARTA. And out of nowhere, someone just comes and just starts stabbing your friend, you, out of nowhere. And all because you're Black. And they have an issue with that. And of course, Nia Wilson, she died on the scene. Her sister was hospitalized and survived. And her sister gave her recount of the attack, and she was saying how when she looked back, he was wiping off his knife and stood at the stairs and just looked at them. Like, who does this shit? Like, I'm so angry. And I struggle with, like, not trying to be angry, guys, because anger does not lead to intelligent actions all the time. And I don't want to have myself caught up in some crazy situation, but this is angering. It is saddening. It is disgusting, because these racist assholes, these racist trolls feel like they have this entitlement to this world, this entitlement to say whose lives are important and whose lives aren't, this entitlement to end the lives of people who belong to a race that they feel is inferior to them, when really they're insecure because we are superior to them. And I'm just gonna say that. And it's just so disheartening that you can't even, or you feel unsafe doing the simplest things, like trying to get from point A to point B on public transit. That's just, what kind of world are we in? What kind of democracy, what kind of free world is this? I guess it's the freedom to do all the vicious bullshit you've been thinking in your head you want to do. Is that what the free world means now? Like, is that what we're doing now? Is that what we're saying is okay? That's what freedom is now? The freedom to just be nasty to people. The freedom to say dumb shit like slavery was a choice. The freedom to run over people with your cars during a rally and attack Black people by the mobs and march with your tiki torches. And is that the freedom that we're saying that we want out here? Is that the freedom that we're protecting out here? Is that where we are now? Is that negative energy and that negative frame of mind what we're protecting, and what we are saying as quote unquote Americans is patriotic now, is what we stand for now? Because for the answer, my answer to that is yes, that's what we're protecting now. That's how it feels for a black woman like me right now, that you're protecting this type of behavior that we have, that y'all president is a part of this type of behavior. It's egging this type of behavior on, this way of thinking on. I mean, it's so much, y'all. It's so much, and it makes you so emotional, and not emotional necessarily sad, because a lot of it is sad, but not necessarily emotional in that way, but emotional in that you feel powerless. You feel like, what can I do? You know, what can I do besides use my platform and speak about it? I never feel like I'm doing enough. I always feel like I should be doing more. I feel like, what am I doing? What can I do next? How can I protect my sisters, my brothers? How can I even protect myself? You know, everybody says, you know, get a gun, get a gun, get a gun. Okay, I get that. But when you're in those moments, especially for instance a sneak attack, even with a gun, those girls may or may not have still been helpless. Who knows? Because it sounded like a surprise attack. And, you know, bystanders have said, and I'm not sure how true that is, that, you know, he was following them for some time, or had been following them. So, but I'm not sure if that part is true or not. But, you know, you just, it's just too much, y'all. It's too much. But I'm gonna get this vent session all the way out, because I have a lot. And I have a lot because even still this year, still unarmed black people getting shot by the police. I mean, you have Stephon Clark killed in his grandmother's backyard. He was shot 20 times. 20 times by the police. Because one of them in the dark yelled, "Gun, gun, gun," and rounds went off. And then when they stopped, they muted their body cameras, y'all. They muted their body cameras. And while looking for the gun, found nothing but a cell phone. Listen, I'm not, you know, I don't have the best vision in the world. I don't have 2020. However, I do believe that I can tell the difference between a cell phone in someone's hand and a gun in someone's hand. And so you have these police officers who have years of experience on the force, who you would think would also be able to tell the difference between a cell phone and a gun, which just keeps happening. Every time that they're unarmed, it was a cell phone, or it was a wallet, or it was something. Everything except a gun. And none of which looks like the size, the depth, the weight, or anything of a gun. Every time it's someone yelling out gun, and it's almost like they yell out gun because they want to shoot. They want to be able to say, you know, well, I had reasonable cause to do so. I thought there was a reasonable threat. Like, it's so disheartening. 20 times, y'all. In his grandmother's backyard. How? And this happened in it's not like the localized areas, of course, that this happens in. We already know this happened in Sacramento. And recently they released footage from 3 different cameras. Of course, 2 body cameras and the helicopter footage. And none of the departments that, comb through these things looking for justification can justify why he was shot 20 times. It makes no sense. And, the reason that they were even called is because there was a call to the police, of course, that there was someone breaking into cars. And they identified a man with a crowbar heading toward a nearby house. And so, a few minutes after responding to the call with the guidance from the helicopter, the police officers spotted Mr. Clark, who they said ran from them. And then they said they followed him into the backyard and ordered him to show his hands. Seconds later, in the dark, like I said, one officer shouted, "Gun, gun, gun," and they shot 20 times at Mr. Clark. The officers believed he had a weapon and opened fire, quote unquote, fearing for their lives, according to a police statement. And the entire thing lasted 10 minutes. And when they looked for a gun, they found a cell phone. Really? It takes 10 minutes for y'all to decide whether y'all going to end somebody's life. And honestly, less than that. It took seconds. Once somebody decided to yell gun, 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 y'all just went ham 20 times. Just another one. We're going to go ahead and talk about another one. In Pennsylvania, there was a call, of course. There had been a 22-year-old man who had been shot but was taken to the hospital and survived. Police put out a call for a vehicle that was seen fleeing the scene, and officers stopped a car that they said matched the description. While they were detaining the driver of the car, 2 people jumped out. Roosevelt fired, killing Rose, a student at Woodland Hills School District who was 17. He was unarmed, although he had an empty gun clip in his pants pocket when he was shot. And officers found 2 guns in the vehicle he fled from. But the officers admitted that he opened fire before he knew whether or not he had a gun. But why though? Pennsylvania law allows police officers to use deadly force to prevent someone from escaping arrest if that person has committed a forcible felony, possesses a deadly weapon, or if the person has indicated he or she will endanger human life or inflict bodily injury if not arrested. This young man presented none of those things, y'all. This young man, Antoine Rose, fled from the scene. Probably scared. True enough, he probably should not have been in the car. Sure, he shouldn't have. However, from what I just read on what Pennsylvania law says is probable cause to fire your weapon, shoot to kill, the officer was not aware of any felonies, not aware of any weapons on the young man. That gun clip in his pocket was not found till after he had been shot. What is going on with this training of police officers? And if we're not going to do any mental evaluations and ensure that these people are not carrying any racial biases with them when they put on that uniform and step out into the field and start shooting and killing these people, what are we even doing it for? What are we doing it for? What are we paying you to protect and serve for? Why don't we have more police officers that look like us patrolling our neighborhoods? Why do we have some police officers that are black that feel like they have something to prove to white police officers, so they act just as much of an asshole way as the white officers? Why are we allowing this? How can we stop this? What can we do about this? And the thing is, of course, this administration is the worst presidential administration I've ever seen in my lifetime. It's a shame. It's embarrassing. We look like fools with this type of leadership in charge. But on a local level, we got to start getting more involved locally. We got to start knowing, what our mayor is wanting to do, what the council is wanting to do for the city, what type of policies and procedures are the city officials putting in place, who are we voting for on the local levels. We have to be more involved, y'all. We got to read. We have computers at our fingertips every day in the form of smartphones. We got to research and read. It is our responsibility, or else we can't get on here and complain. I mean, of course, you can vent all you want to, but can you realistically feel good about it knowing that you're not even doing anything or attempting to do anything about it? What are we doing? What kind of world are we building and leaving for the next generation? I'm challenging all of us to do better. I'm challenging us to challenge those in charge to do better. Challenge us to challenge these damn police officers to do better or get the fuck on. And don't excuse my French. Get out of here. You're fired. And when you get fired, you can't get hired at another police department. Depending on what you're fired for, of course. In these cases, these racially tinged shootings where you have been found guilty of racial bias, you should not be able to go work for another police force or another security company or no campus police. No anything dealing with quote unquote protecting and serving. You are disqualified, sir or ma'am. You are. You cannot work in this field any longer. Go be a librarian. Because you're too scary. You need to work in a quiet place where, everybody talking the same tone and no one can make your scary ass jump. And you start shooting people. Like, you need to go do that. Go over there and do that. Because you're not protecting and serving my people. And that's why we don't call the police. Like, the last thing I want to do ever in a situation is call the police. Because I don't know how it's going to turn out. I don't know if I'm calling the police on somebody if I'm going to end up dead. I don't know because I don't trust you. I just don't. And it's behaviors like this, stories like these, that make it impossible for me to do so. I just can't. Even I'll tell you guys, me and my homegirl hung out one night. And we probably got back to my place about 1:30. But our Uber dropped us off. And before she went to her car to leave, we were just out there talking. Just talking. Because the conversation was good. We were still talking. And the entire time that we were talking out there, and at that point we had started talking about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, the entire time, because I lived in a mixed race neighborhood, I was like, I hope none of these white folks call the police on us. And that is so sad that I can't even enjoy it, because we're not disturbing anyone. We're just standing outside talking. That someone could have easily stood at their window and called the police because we look suspicious talking outside at a place where I pay rent for. But that's my thought process now. That is what this society has created. I cannot just be black and live without the police being called and potentially it going way south, way to the left. That is scary. That is a scary thought where you feel unprotected, where no one has your best interest at heart. I mean, you got white people calling the police on little girls selling lemonade. You got white people calling the police because you're having a barbecue at the park. You got white people calling the police on you because you sleep at your dorm room. You got this latest black woman had a police call on her because she was outside eating lunch on a bench. She was on lunch break from her job, eating her lunch. The police walked up to her, and she was looking like, okay, what's going on? He's like, he went ahead and broke it down. Some racist, butthole, asshole, Called the police. Said there was a suspicious black person that didn't look like they belonged there. I don't have to explain where I belong to you. Who the fuck are you? Who are you where you think that I have to explain myself to you and why I belong in a neighborhood? Why I deserve to drive a nice car? Why I deserve to put up a lemonade stand? Why I deserve to hold a barbecue? Why I deserve to just be minding my damn business, eating my lunch? Who do you think you are? Like, I'm getting so tired of this entitlement that this land is mine and you can't be on it. Who are you to occupy the space? This ain't yours. Your family migrated here. We were forced here. We had to make this place home, even though it still don't feel like home. We don't know where we come from. All because of the bullshit y'all ancestors tried to pull. And now the bullshit you're trying to pull today, acting like you own this shit. You don't own anything. This is not yours. Ugh. Y'all, I'm disgusted. This is just... And then we got black folks. Some black folks. Who, when they have a platform and they are willing or do have the ability to use their voice to promote positivity, to promote change, to help take things further, they say dumb shit. They say dumb shit like this Dallas Cowboys player, Dak Prescott, who told the news outlet, "I never protest during the anthem, and I don't think that's the time or the venue to do so. The game of football has always brought me such at peace, and I think it does the same for a lot of people. A lot of people playing the game, a lot of people watching the game, a lot of people that have any impact of the game." He said he has respect for players that have protested, but he added that he is for taking a next step, that whatever that step may be for action, and not just kneeling. First of all, the people that have an issue with public protests, to me, are the people who are still insecure about their place in society, who are still trying to assimilate into a culture, who really doesn't even want you, who is trying to tap dance and play minstrel for a culture, who doesn't give a shit about you, who just wants you to throw a ball and shut up, to be honest. And the only reason they're probably glad you're talking right now is because you're saying something that they agree with. So you're a great you're a great nigga for that. That's what you are for that. But not even just that. You say you're for taking a next step, that whatever that step may be. First of all, you're saying you don't agree with this protest, but you don't even have any plan for action. Because you know what? You don't even care. A protest is not supposed to make those who are inflicting the pain comfortable. A protest is supposed to make people feel uncomfortable so that you can stop and either pay attention to what we're trying to say, or you can get angry about it, whatever. But it ain't supposed to make you feel comfortable. Because you know what? You've made me feel uncomfortable. So you get to feel how I feel now. That is what the protest is for. It is to raise awareness. And awareness that you, sir, are trying to act like you have no knowledge of, that you are removed from. Because you also have since stood by your statements. You said, I made my statements. I stand by what I said. Some people might have misunderstood or whatever, but I know what I said and I feel strongly about what I said. It is what it is. When I made my statements on the anthem, I knew there would be backlash, no surprises. First of all, no one misunderstood you. You were clear. You don't think protesting the national anthem is the right type of protest. There is no right type of protest to people who feel uncomfortable about people protesting. What you would really want us to do is just be quiet. That's what you would really want. Because you're too concerned and too selfish about your own little circle, your own little coins, that you can't understand that this is bigger than us. And one brother that I can respect, and who does put action behind his words, LeBron James just opened up the I Promise School. That's a big ass salute, Dak Prescott. Since you don't want to protest the national anthem, what are you doing? Do you have school opening up soon? Do you have an organization that is going to try to help change police policies and procedures, that is going to educate people on their rights when they're stopped by police? What are you doing? Are you mentoring the black youth? Are you creating a better path, so that there is not this vicious cycle of violence in our communities? What are you doing? You're doing nothing but talking. Honestly, what you could have said, what you should have said, is no fucking comment and kept moving. You didn't have to say anything at all. You should have just shut up. You and Kanye. All y'all, people like y'all in that group, should have just shut the hell up talking about slavery was a choice. Really? To stay in it that long was a choice. This guy. But I'm not even going to give him the time, his coming to time, because Kanye wants that. He wants that type of attention. So I'm going to just move straight on from him and go right into, since we on NFL, EA Sports ass. With Madden just came out. And they had the Big Bank song in there. And Big Sean's verse mentions Colin Kaepernick's name in there. Why is it bleeped out? So y'all bleeping out Colin Kaepernick's name as if it's a curse word. And like Big Sean said, he's not a curse, he's a gift. None of the artists in that song stood by that decision, was made aware of that decision, was asked about that decision. They do not support that decision. And honestly, why are we even still supporting these businesses? Stop watching the damn NFL. Stop playing NFL related games. Stop making these white people money who do not care about us, but they keep capitalizing off of us. Stop it. If every single black player kneeled or left the field, what could they do? Their whole establishment would be shut down. Black people, we are the power. We have the power if we tap into it. If we unify enough to tap into that power, we can do amazing things together. I was listening to a Jay-Z interview, and he was elaborating on him saying that like the Jewish people basically own everything, which of course that was an exaggeration, but they own a lot of shit. And he was just talking about how he saw in New York, across from his neighborhood, how, over time they just bought up buildings in the neighborhood. And how he was saying, if we banded together, because they weren't rich folks, they just sacrificed, didn't buy some unnecessary shit, but instead invested. They banded together, put their resources together, and bought up the block. We can do that, y'all. We can do that. If we put aside our pettiness and I don't want so-and-so to feel like they're in charge of me. I don't want anyone to achieve more success than me. I want to be the head honcho in charge. It ain't about none of that. If we all put in our resources, we all in charge. We all have a role. And the thing is, just because your role might not be the face of it, the one the media sees doesn't mean that your role isn't as important as that person who is the face. People are so insecure about their strengths, about what they bring to the table, that if they're not in the forefront where, hey, look at me, they feel inferior. And it's not an inferiority that anybody is placing on you. You're placing it on yourself. And that is what keeps holding us back. It keeps pulling us backwards because we don't have enough people who are comfortable playing their role, because we all have one. And playing your role, that term, is not a term to demean you. It's not a term to put you in second place. It's just facts. We all have a certain role to play. Like, for instance, if I was a part of the collective, my role would probably be the researcher. The researcher, and to give my point of view on where we probably should place these funds based on said research. Now, I ain't got to be in the spotlight. I ain't got to be out on social media. But I would be secure in knowing that my role is what helps push this forward. And that's why we have to be secure in. You got to know that you were chosen for your role because apparently you're the best at that shit. I know I'm a good ass researcher. You can't take that away from me. That's an important title to me. We got to be secure in ourselves. And a lot of that insecurity, of course, it's years, things that we are still carrying from our ancestors on how we are navigating in this, not just this world, but in America, the systemic racism, the insecurities of colorism, the economic disparities causes insecurities. And even on a more personal thing, just people's own personalities, and that they have always felt like, for instance, some people carried things with them growing up where they had mommy issues. They didn't feel like their mom loved them enough. Their dad loved them enough. These things go into how people navigate the world and help to also build that crabs in a barrel mentality. There's so many layers to us that we got to figure out to move together. Because the thing about it is, other groups of people, while not, it may not been as vicious of a plight as ours, but other people fight past their layers to focus on the one common goal. Sometimes I got to put myself on the back burner real quick. Let me leave this at home so I can go out to the world and handle this business. I have to do that a lot. I do that every day working for corporate America. I do that. Well, I lay it all on the line for y'all because this podcast is honest and raw. But even that, I still don't put too much of myself into my thought process behind what I'm going to share with you guys, because internally, Kelly wants to say, you shouldn't share those thoughts. That's too vulnerable. No. I'm getting away from myself. Hey, you chill. We got to help the people. This helps the people. This moves us forward. And we don't have enough of that thought process to work together. Put aside that petty shit. Let's get it done. That's what we have to do. We gotta get it done. We have to be on the same page and recognize the same goal, because that's another issue when we do decide to form a group. Now you get with the group, everybody got the idea they want to do. Okay, like let's say we were going to focus on trying to change policies and procedures within the police force. Okay, but now you want to bring in, well, let's also focus over here on the gun laws, or let's also listen, one goal at a time. And that doesn't mean your goal is not important, but let's actually achieve a goal first before we start throwing out 10 goals at a time. I know that there's a lot of issues that need to be fixed. We would spend a lifetime fixing them, but we gotta do it one at a time. And depending on maybe what the goals are, how big or small, maybe two, but one at a time, y'all. Let's stay on a common path and reaching a common goal. And honestly, like I said, we need to be trying to buy up the block. I live in Atlanta. I see the new dome go up. And of course, I see the neighborhood around the dome for right now. It's a low-income neighborhood. It's a neighborhood of poverty. It's violence and crime happens over there. A lot of homes boarded up. But I also see those houses slowly being bought up. And they're not slowly being bought up by us. It is gentrification. It is happening. Once the neighborhood starts to shift a little over time, it's going to look different. Now, granted, one positive thing about gentrification is that the crime does decrease. But we still have to get to the root of the crime. It's because we've built this economic instability where one class of folks have been given so many opportunities, and this other class of folks has to fight for it so hard that it causes this disparage, and the ratio between opportunities and going into the life outweighs fighting for these opportunities, because you have to fight so damn hard. And every turn you feel like, well, damn, it's something else. Damn, it's something else. And like I said, it's these vicious cycles. It's these vicious cycles because also we're not shown enough opportunities, or we're not shown the possibilities of enough opportunities, I'll say, in a lot of these communities where violence has consumed the neighborhood. Like I said, it's layers to this thing. But back to buying up. White folks buying up these properties, and soon where Atlanta was once black as fuck, and I mean the city, like the downtown, midtown, all that area where Atlanta was once black as fuck, it's going to be very mixed race to white. Because of course, when those houses are flipped, or when they tear them down and build new houses and condos and lofts, who do you think is going to be able to afford it? And who do you think is going to have to move the hell on? And y'all know, like I said, with black women, we're making 38% less than white men, 21% less than white women. I'm still going to get my damn condo loft. Side note. But anyway, it's and it's happening. So we got to start banding together. Learn about real estate. Learn how we can flip these properties. Learn about this, but learn about economics. Use our resources at our fingertips. Like I said, leave them insecurities and the pettiness at home. Make sacrifices. Because a lot of it, when you're going into financial investments, you do have to make sacrifices. You're not going to be able to necessarily go on every single trip you want to go on. Sacrifices. You're not going to be able to eat at every restaurant you want to eat at every weekend. Sacrifice. Sacrifice to make something great long term. Something you can pass on to the next generation, your children, your nieces, your nephews, your cousins, whoever. We got to think bigger. We got to think bigger so we can do bigger. We got to lean on each other. Let your sister and your brother hype you up, motivate you. Don't just look to the next person doing well and roll your eyes like they think they all there, they think they're doing better than me. But they're doing better because their mindset is different. Change your mindset. Stop looking at folks and saying they doing better than me, or they think they better than me. No, I don't think anybody's better than me. I think I have the potential to reach anything I want. You gotta have that mindset. You gotta go. You gotta be action oriented as well. It's not just one thing to say, let's get this popping. Let's flip these houses. What actions are we taking next? What are we doing next? We have to start taking action. And one simple action that we can take, register to vote if you haven't already. Be aware of your local representatives and who's running for office. Hell, you can run for office. You don't apparently have to have experience. To me, you just have to care and genuinely have a plan to try to make things better. Know these people. Vote. Vote. Because even though nationally, like I said, not mentioning this person, fucked up administration. Nationally, we are screwed. But locally, for now, we can make changes. We can make changes right now in this election coming up in November, where you're voting who's going to be representing your state in Congress. Like, those people are important because those people are helping to make the laws and things. Like, come on. We got to get involved. It's too easy not to vote. That doesn't cost you anything except maybe gas money, depending on where you got to go vote at. But that's nothing. You waste gas all the time. We got to exercise our rights. We got to come together. We have to, because nobody wants to see us win but us. And hell, even some of us are not down for the win. Not the win together. They're down for a win on their own, separately, selfishly. But we are not going to achieve success if we don't do it together, y'all. We're just not. And, I just want to briefly touch on, because I'm all over time. The vent sessions, they probably all will be over time. But, even right now, these babies that are separated from their families who tried to migrate here, probably to flee from situations we couldn't even imagine. Like, if you haven't lived in some of these countries these people are trying to flee from, we could not imagine. But this administration is taking, or has taken, these babies from their parents, had them in cages. Like, what are we doing? But now, you want the ACLU to be in charge of fixing the problem you started. You want to push the blame off on another party to fix your mess. When you got more resources than them, you got more money than them. Why don't you fix your own problem? Y'all, like I said, we gotta sit together. As black people, we gotta sit together and we gotta move our communities forward. We got to change around our economic status within our communities. We have to leave something for the next generation so they don't start 10 steps behind like we've been starting. And then on a bigger level, once we fix us, we got to band together as a nation. Because like it or not, we live here. More than likely, we're not moving to another country. That's just facts. I know it sounds fun to say because they get on our damn nerves, this administration. But we're not leaving. And so if I have to be here, I'm going to make the best life possible for my family, for my community, and hopefully for the people at large. But I gotta start with my own community first. I can't make the world better or the nation better until I make my community better. It starts with us for me. So let's talk, y'all. Let's try to get this thing going seriously. I'm going to I haven't posted in a long time in the Sister Dialogue Room on Facebook. It is a closed group, and it's a closed group because only people in there with a common goal and common mindset who are trying to push the community forward or bring about some constructive thought and some constructive criticism so that we can make sure we are pushing ourselves to be the best version of ourselves. But we gotta start this action going because these people don't care about us. They just don't, and they're showing us every day. So we gotta care about us. Such a fucking emotional topic, y'all, but it's necessary, and I'm glad I'm having these vent sessions this month because we have to unify. We have to keep empowering each other, and we gotta keep educating each other. And I love you guys, and I thank you guys for listening every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. I am truly so thankful and grateful for this platform, for this ability that the universe has given me to be able to share my thoughts in a way in which it reaches you guys the way I'd like for you to get it. Because, sometimes you have thoughts and you're like, oh, I hope they understood it the way I wanted to say it. But I'm very fortunate to be able to express myself in this way and hopefully build a community where we reach success together. Next show, another vent session is going to be going on. We're going to be venting on a little bit of a lighter topic. We're venting on marriage and relationships, and I'm going to have a special guest on. One of my friends, Sage, is going to be on venting along with me. Definitely won't be this kind of vent. We won't be angry venting, even though I don't think I was angry the whole show. Y'all let me know. But so he's going to be on with me next week, so be sure to tune in to that show as well. And of course, follow us on Instagram at Sister, 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 SISTAH.radio. And of course, if you want to see what I'm up to, I'm lame. No, I'm just playing. If you want to see what I'm up to, follow me at Your Favorite Sister, AH on the end. Like I said, follow us on Facebook if you want to be a part of trying to get this community going. The Sister Dialogue Room, I'm going to be active in there again because we have to move our community forward. We don't have a choice. For us, by us. That's what we need to have happening right now. So, once again, thank you guys for listening. Tune in next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. I love you guys so much. I'm appreciative of all of you who tune in. And you keep me humble. Thank you. I love you. Bye.